One day were Celestia sitting under a tree in the castle garden just to relax for a bit, when suddenly she heard a voice. Your Highness, your younger sister is looking for you. It was a royal guard by the name Light Knight. She turned to him and said, Thank you. I will go see her right away. And she got up and left the castle garden to find her youngest sister in the library. There you are. Have you forgot what you were supposed to be doing right now? She said, Luna. Not really. What do you mean? I mean, have you forgot what time it is? Then Celestia realized she had totally forgot that she was going out to have lunch with her sister. Oh, I'm so sorry, Luna. I was sitting in Castle Garden. It felt so calm and peaceful, and I lost track of time. Again, said Luna with a smile. Well, should we go now? Yeah, let's go. So they left the castle and went to a small restaurant in town where they actually enjoyed the company. While they were sitting there, Luna actually talked about her boyfriend, Discord. Discord and Luna have been dating for about a year now. Celestia, have you ever been thought of getting a boyfriend of your own? Said Luna with a smile while they enjoying their lunch. Considering that you have been ruling Equestria for such long time, and you never actually focus on anything else by ruling, so have you ever thought of having a boyfriend of your own? Celestia's actually sat there quiet for a moment. Luna did have a point. Ever since Luna was banished to the moon for 1,000 years, Celestia had been ruling in Equestria for by that time by herself. And she did focus mostly on her ruling and the welfare of her pony population. But now that the Luna is back, she could probably take some time to just try to find a boyfriend. But the thing is, Celestia has never even had any form of experience when it comes to relationships or even love. Or most of all, she has not even been in love with any pony before. Well, Luna, you do have a point, but it's just that since I have never been focused so much on love or anything like that, so I don't have any experience. And being a princess and one of the rulers of this kingdom, I don't know if I might even find a boyfriend. I mean, knowing how much busy it is, and if I do find one, it's only a matter of time before he might just leave me to the fact that I might not even be able to see him so often. Luna realized that her sister did have a good point, a valid point, to be exact. But she really wanted to just see her sister happy. You might be right about that, but have you ever considered to try at least to find a boyfriend or at least do some casual dating? Well, I haven't really thought much about it, but I mean, what what kind of dating should I even try? Now these days you can probably just try to find some pony randomly. Then Luna came up with an idea. Well, how about this? I heard from Rarity that this so-called speed dating is a very popular thing to do now these days. And I even had heard and seen this place in town that they actually have a speed dating service here in Camelot. Really? Yeah, they do. Hmm. You know what? I'd probably think about it. So after their lunch, they went back to the castle. But even after that conversation, Celestia thought about this speed dating service, and the next day when she just were on her own, she took a walk in town and walked by this location of the so-called speeding service. She didn't even walk in, she just stood there, looked at the place, and walked on. She wanted to think first if she wanted to do this or not. But after a couple of days of thinking, she was like, why not? So, on a Friday afternoon, she actually went to the speeding service. When she walked in, the organizer was quite stunned to see one of the rulers actually just literally walked in and asked how she could help her. So, Your Highness, what can I do for you this lovely afternoon? Well, I'm actually here to try speed dating. The organizer was quite surprised, but very polite and very much politely explained how the speed dating worked and some of the rules and all that. But she said there might not even be a guarantee that Celestia might find some pony right away. It sometimes may have to go several times before even being matched with some pony. And Celestia said, it's fine. Even if I don't end up matching with some pony, at least I get some experience, which the organizer nodded to. So that same afternoon, just a bit later, Celestia was actually at this organized speeding service, and when she did return, Pony saw it with a big look's eyes that one of the rulers actually showed up. But she was in fact matched with a few stallions, but she didn't felt any form of connection or at least drawn to them. But it was one of them that seems to be very much might have been her type. So even after speeding service, they both of them actually left this place together. Celestia and the stallion went to a small diner close by to get something to eat, and also continued the conversation. And even after they had left, the stallion even asked Celestia if she wanted to go out with him. So they decided to go out the next day for dinner. And even the next day, she was so excited. She was very thrilled, but also a bit nervous since this was her first date ever with any pony. And, well, it went well, and for the next couple of weeks, it seems to be working well between them. But then, it all happened. One day, when Celestia were in her front room doing some business by taking care of some documents, when suddenly a guard walked in, which were Light Knight, carrying a letter for her. It turned out it was from the stallion that she had been dating, and he informed her in a letter saying, "Dear Celestia, I'm so sorry to informing you, but I'm moving out of town and it means that we might never be able to see each other anymore. I do, in fact, enjoy our time together. I did. But I'm sure you might find some pony else to be with. I'm so sorry. And I just want to inform you that and thank you for our time together." Celestia broke down because she had honestly believed that this stallion could have been the right stallion for her. After she read this message, or this letter, she just left the front room and went to her room. She locked the door and cried in her bed. She had started to develop feelings for this stallion, but now this, that she received a letter telling her that she didn't even find her true love with this stallion. He didn't do anything wrong. It just, he didn't felt that might not even be the right for her. So, even that moment when she was crying, Light Knight went to see Luna. Excuse me, Your Highness. Um, yes? Light Knight? Uh, you may have to go see your sister. Why? I don't know what happened. She just received a letter and she left her front room crying, and now she's crying in her room. What? But what did the letter say? I I honestly don't know, Your Highness. You have to ask her yourself. So Luna left her room, went to see her older sister. Even then, Luna couldn't have been let in because the door was locked. She begged her sister to let her in, so she did, but the door was locked right away afterwards. Luna even tried to ask her sister what was the matter, but Celestia was so badly crying so she couldn't even get out a single word. But she just pointing at the letter. Luna took it and read it. Then she realized what she meant. Oh, Celestia, I'm so sorry. But you two weren't any actual couple, though, were you? And Celestia just shook her head as an answer for no. They had even made it official. They were mostly casual dating to get to know each other better. She had hoped within a couple of months or so maybe they could have been as an official couple. But at least he was honest, though. Yeah, you might be right, said Celestia. But, you know, at least one thing came out of this. And would that be? I mean, you did date the first stallion ever, even though they might not even be a long term, but you get some experience of being happy and in love and heartbreaks. I guess you're right, says Celestia while she's sitting up in her bed. I think I may not even want to find a boyfriend if that happens. I mean, Celestia, did you honestly believe love was just so painless and all that? No, of course not. But you had to realize love is a delicate. Sometimes it brings us the greatest happiness, the greatest joy, but also the greatest sorrow, the greatest sadness that can actually be. You should try to find something else. At least I don't want to, said Celestia almost angrily. Don't get angry at me, sister. But you're right. Give it the time to process all this, and maybe one day soon you may find the true love that you want to be with. I don't think so. But Luna didn't want to argue back with her sister, only to saying, well, at least thinking about it. Luna left her room, and for the next several days, despite the heartbreak, Celestia did take care of her royal duties as normal. But most of the time she was either in the castle garden or in her own room. But one day, when she was in the castle garden, just by herself, she heard a voice and she saw it was Light Knight. Your Highness. Oh, Light Knight, are you on your patrol? Actually, I'm actually on my break at the moment. Do you mind if I keep you company? Not at all. I mean, you're welcome to join me as a company if you want. So Light Knight walked up to her, sat next to her, and at first they didn't say much. But he said, it's a lovely night, a lovely day, isn't it? Yeah, it is. So, I heard what happened to you. Oh, it spread that much. Actually, no. Luna told me. She did? Yeah, I mean, we're a little bit good friends, and she trusts me, and I hadn't even told anyone else, so don't worry about it. I appreciate that, though. Light Knight. I do. But can I ask you something? Sure, what is it? Have you ever experienced a heartbreak before? A heartbreak? Oh yeah, a couple of times actually. A couple? Yeah, I mean, what do you think I am? I'm not old as you. No offense, Celestia, but no worries. Uh, yeah, I had a few heartbreaks when I was even younger, but it's an experience. Some of them would even last a long couple of, some a couple of weeks, some couple of months. One, but maybe for almost 2 years. But now I hadn't even seen any pony for a while. Well, I mean, due to the fact I'm a rural guard and takes a lot of time to even to this, and I never thought of trying to even look up to be dating any pony. What about you? Have you ever given much a thought about it again? You know what? I actually have, but at the same time, I'm not ready yet. Or if I even, or if I may not even find it the true one. I hear you. But if it was me, I would definitely date you. What, you would? Oh yeah. I mean, you're kind, you're generous, most of all, beautiful. And despite the age gap difference between us, I would definitely still love you, no matter what. That's that's so sweet of you. But before he then left, then he actually turned and faced her and said, "So, I want to ask you something. Yeah? How about we actually go on a date tomorrow? Tomorrow's my day off, so if you want." Uh, sure. But what kind of date did you have in mind? Well, we could either just have a lunch date or even go out as a dinner date. You pick. I think a dinner date might be actually more fun. Alright then. I will meet you at the entrance by tomorrow, let's say 7 p.m. Yeah, sounds about right. Celestia actually smiled as Light Knight walked away. For some reason, she couldn't stop smiling and blushing when she thought of that. She even went to find her sister, and when she was just told her sister about this, Luna was like, "Say what? He actually asked you out?" Yeah, could you believe it? Honestly though, yeah, I can do see that. Do you know something about this, Luna? Maybe, maybe not. Luna, says Celestia, but almost glaring at her sister. Fine. It just, it just that, since you've been heartbroken, and I knew in fact that Light Knight did in fact had a crush on you for a while, but he made it maybe to not to tell you, but I think he would understand if I told you. Celestia could not believe it. Her own royal guard, Light Knight, were in love with her. Wait, are you serious, Luna? I am. Luna could not believe it that her own sister was so clueless. I thought you even knew, or even has noticed that he sometimes looked at you or even smiled when he was around you. No, I never did, said Celestia. She was really clueless. But at the same time, Celestia felt happiness, joy, because she had known Light Knight for a few years of being service her as a royal guard. So they had conversation between each other from time to time, so she trusts him. And Luna suggests that they give it a try to see if it can work between them. So she promised. So the next day, around 7 p.m., by the entrance, she waited for Light Knight to show up, and he did. And when he saw her, he said, "Wow, I am quite surprised at you looking so good, beautiful, gorgeous." "Oh, thanks. Are you ready to go?" "Yeah, let's go." So they went to this nearby restaurant, and even at first it was a bit awkward, but suddenly they started small talk and eventually just enjoying the time. And Light Knight actually said that he had a crush on her for a while, which she did admit that she became aware of since Luna told her. He was like, "Oh, dear Luna, why'd she tell you?" he said with a chuckle. "I mean, I think she only wanted me to be happy, but also at least a bit cautious." "Yeah, understandable. If I had a sister like that, yeah, I would understand." Yeah, they actually enjoyed the rest of the dinner, and even afterwards, they just walked around, took a walk in town, just having a good conversation. And they actually walked back to the castle, and he even gave her a kiss on the cheek and thanked her for a lovely date. And then came to another question. If Celestia wanted to go out again with him, she said yes right away. So they decided to try at least with dating. At first, they kept it as a secret. Even if they did went out on dates, sometimes in the daytime for have lunch, opponents in town were aware that Light Knight were in fact a royal guard, so they wouldn't end up being much as a suspicious. They thought maybe that Celestia had just brought a royal guard as a bodyguard. So, but it didn't take long for the public to start to put the pieces together in a mysterious puzzle, because one witness saw them kissing. And when this suddenly came out in the general public, Pony started being spreading rumors maybe that Celestia and this royal guard were more than just friends but in a romantic item. And when some journalists asked Celestia about this, she did admit it that Light Knight and Celestia were in fact a couple. Because just before this even started rumors spreading around, he did ask her, and she said yes. And soon the whole kingdom was fully aware that Celestia and Light Knight were now a couple. It was something that the general public had always wondered, if Celestia would ever find her true love, since Luna was dating Discord. They've only met a time before her older sister Celestia might not even find some pony. There were even some talks if Celestia might even be interested in stallions, but interested in only mares. Or if she was even interested in romance whatsoever. But they were just happy that Celestia finds some pony to be with. And as time went on, their relationship only grew stronger and stronger for each single day. And one day when Celestia were out in town, waiting outside a restaurant for lunch with Light Knight, she heard a voice. "Celestia?" She turned and saw it was the stallion that she once dated. Even though they weren't actual couple. "Oh, it has been a while," she said with a smile. She wasn't even angry anymore. It was actually thanks to him that she did get some experience in dating. "I heard you've been dating this royal guard. Is it true?" "Yeah, it is. We have been dating for a while now. So, yeah, I'm actually happy with him." "What about you?" "Oh, yeah, I'm actually engaged myself. Um, I did find somebody else to be with, and I'm so sorry about what I did. I may have perhaps not even sent a letter, perhaps just telling you more directly. No, I get it though, and I have to thank you. Thank me for what? If I would never went start dating you, I may not even had an experience at all. So thank you for giving me some experience how to be in love and experience heartbreak. I understand it was not your intention, but thank you. Well, if you're seeing from that point of view, understandable. But but yeah, I'm actually glad to be able to get you in a push into the right way. But once again, though, thanks and congrats to your engagement. Thank you. Well, I would not be surprised if you and this royal guard of yours might even be engaged or even married within the next few years. I won't say that much won't happen anytime soon, but who knows? Maybe in the next 5 years or so, maybe. Celestia said with a smile. He nodded, and they said goodbye to each other. Shortly afterwards, Light Knight showed up. Oh, was that your ex-boyfriend, maybe? Um, not really ex-boyfriend, since we weren't a couple back then, but he was the one I was dating. Did he want you to say goodbye? He asked. No, not at all. He was just in town for visiting an old friend, and we just randomly walked into each other. That's it. He's engaged at some point now, so don't worry. All right, shall we continue our lunch together? Sure. And even though Light Light wasn't any word at all, because he did actually overheard the conversation, but he didn't tell Celestia about it, since he was just happy. And there were not nothing to be worrying about, because the stallion that Celestia dated once was already dating somebody else, and there were no like any romance between them. They were still friendly against each other, which was a good thing. After their lunch, they just continued to walk around and even went back to the castle and even ended up in Celestia's personal room, her bedroom, laying on the floor and reading a daring do book together. The relationship between Light Knight and Celestia only grew stronger and stronger for each single day that passed. They did share some heartbreaks in their past, but that was the only thing that made them to realize their true feelings for each other. And as for Celestia, she really wanted to have him as her true husband one day. And after they had been dating for about 4 years, that actually happened though. Because on their fourth anniversary, Light Knight actually took Celestia to a restaurant to have their anniversary, where he actually did propose to Celestia. He said, went up to her and went on his knees and said to her, Celestia, we have known each other for a few years now. Been dating for 4 years. I really felt I'm ready to take the next step in all this. So, do you want to marry me? Celestia felt so much joy and happiness and said yes immediately. She was so happy, and even when they went back to the castle after dinner, Luna was actually over thrilled that her sister was now getting married. She couldn't be more happier for her older sister, and even Discord was really thrilled too. Even soon, the whole kingdom became fully aware of the engagement between Celestia and now her fiancé, Light Knight. They were just all happy for them. Celestia had even had asked Luna to be her maid of honor and Twilight to be the one to perform the ceremony, and both said yes. Light Knight had asked one of his fellow guards to be his best man. And even on the wedding, Light Knight was actually a bit nervous, but he wasn't backing out from this because he wouldn't be that type of pony to just back out of an engagement or marriage like this, because he doesn't even want to break Celestia's heart. And another thing is, Discord said, quote, "If you try anything to hurt Celestia's heart, I will hunt you down, turn you to stone, and throw you to the deepest hole in the world," he said. Only two bit scaring Light Knight, but it didn't even that didn't even make him flinch at all, because he said back to Discord, "You can try to your best threats, Discord, but I'm not backing out. I'm going full through this. You know it." And even afterwards, he did. They even actually had a good time at the party, the wedding reception party, which Pinky had arranged. Even there, Light Knight actually could see how much happy he were with Celestia. And later, they actually even went to a tropical island for the honeymoon for 2 whole weeks. Even on their honeymoon, both Celestia and Light Knight had a much amazing time. Mostly just swimming in the ocean or just laying on the beach, just relaxing. But most of all, be together. They were both happy to have entered a new chapter in their lives. And even just before they left for the honeymoon, Celestia had even made Light Knight immortal, so that they can always be together. He actually accepted this idea, and he wouldn't mind to be immortal. And after being married for about 2 years, Celestia and Light Knight wanted to start a family. And sure enough, they actually found out they were expecting their first child. And the whole kingdom became so happy and most of all, over-thrilled of the big news. Even though their friends and even Celestia, now that she's gonna be an aunt, couldn't be more happier. Then the day came when their baby was born. They had a daughter which they named Sunrise Starset. She was an unicorn like her mother, and her biggest dream was to be a teacher in magic one day. And when she was old enough, she actually went to school to be a teacher. And eventually, she finished her studies and did become a teacher. She was actually offered a position in Baltimore she did move to. There, she actually fell in love with another teacher and they got married after being dating for about 4 years and had 2 daughters together. 3 years later, they had a daughter which they named Scarlet Fashion. Scarlet Fashion was really much interested in fashion even as a filly, and her idol was Rarity. She studied a lot of Rarity's past designs and hoped to be a very talented fashion designer herself one day. And she actually moved to Manhattan to work at Rarity's boutique there. She was happy to be able to do so. And she actually even had some of her own ideas to be sold there, and they were all big hits. Eventually, she did end up marrying a stallion who was working as a painter, and they got married after being dating for about 2 years, and even had 2 daughters together. 3 years later, they had a son, which they named luminosist vision. Like his mother, he was very talented in magic, and he actually liked to read and even write on some stories. His dream was to become an author, and he actually managed to publish his own first mystery novel when he was about 21 years old and became a big hit. He even eventually married a mayor who was working as a teacher. They got married after being dating for about 2 years and had two daughters of their own. 3 years later, they had a daughter which they named Harvest Flower. She loved flowers as a filly, and her dream was to open up her own flower shop one day. In fact, she did a lot of studies about flowers when she was young, about the common ones and especially about the rares. And when she was about 21, she actually moved to Baltimore, where she did open up her small flower shop. It was becoming a success. She even married a journalist in Baltimore. And they even got married after being dating for about 5 years. And eventually they later have two daughters and two sons of their own together. 3 years later, they had a son which they named Rabbit Wreck. He was really strong as a young colt, and he actually looked up to his dad, Light Knight, as an idol. His dream were in fact become a troll guard, and when he was older, he actually applied to the academy to be trained as a troll guard, and he was accepted in. And eventually he finished his training, and he was actually transferred to Crystal Empire to train some more, and later eventually was transferred back to Canterlot. And he did become the new captain of the Royal Guard in Canterlot. He even married another guard, and they actually got married after being dating for about 4 years and have two daughters of their own together. Celestia was really happy to be with her beloved Light Knight. Another thing is, she never even believed that one of her own royal guards to be in love with her. She never believed at all about it. But she was really happy about it. She did accept it, especially when Light Knight did confess to her. Despite all this, she was happy. She wouldn't even regret any of this. Even Nightlight, he was just happy to be with Celestia. But Celestia even showed gratitude to the stallion that she dated before Light Knight. Because before then, she had no experience about romance or even being of any of that. So it was thanks to him she really get some experience about love and heartbreaks, and also which led to her meeting with her true beloved Light Knight. If that even had happened, he may not even have found his true happiness himself. So with that, both of them are just happy to have found their true love. But most of all, they were happy and proud to have 5 children and 12 grandchildren. They could not be more happier to have such a big family. And this is how Light Knight and Celestia found a true love and got a big family together. The end.